The galaxy was old. It had seen empires rise and fall like waves on a beach. The Galactic Union had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. They had ships that could cross entire star systems in moments. They had weapons that could crack planets in half. They believed they knew everything about power. They were wrong. Earth sat at the edge of known space, a small blue world that the Union called primitive. Their scouts had visited the planet 300 years ago. They found humans living in simple cities. They found machines that moved on wheels. They found weapons that threw small pieces of metal. The scouts laughed and filed their reports. Earth was no threat. Earth was nothing. The Union forgot about the little blue world. They had bigger concerns: trade routes to protect, border wars to fight, slave markets to run. Humans were not worth their time. Captain stood on the bridge of the Iron Vanguard. She was 42 years old with short black hair and eyes that had seen too much. Behind her, the crew worked in silence. They had trained for 15 years for this moment. Every person on this ship knew what was coming. The Iron Vanguard was humanity's secret. While the Union ignored Earth, humans had been busy. They found old alien technology in crashed ships. They studied it. They learned. They built something new. The ship was 5 kilometers long. Its hull was made of materials the Union had never seen. Its engines could push it faster than any alien vessel. Its weapons were designed with one purpose in mind: war. Commander walked up beside his captain. He was tall and thin, with a face that rarely showed emotion. But today, there was fire in his eyes. "The distress signal came from New Sol," he said. "The colony on the 4th moon of 7. Nodded slowly. New Sol was home to 50,000 humans, farmers, teachers, children, people who had left Earth to find a better life among the stars. "How many ships attacked them?" she asked. 12, all bearing the mark of the Syndicate. There were slavers. They roamed the edges of Union space, taking whoever they wanted. The Union turned a blind eye. Slaves were good business. Human slaves were especially valuable. They were strong. They could work long hours. They did not break easily. Felt her hands tighten into fists. For 50 years they had been taking her people. Thousands of humans had disappeared into their ships. Men, women, children, all of them sold to the highest bidder. All of them worked until they died. Earth had begged the Union for help. They sent messages. They sent diplomats. They offered whatever they had. The Union laughed at them. Primitive species did not deserve protection. If humans wanted safety, they should have evolved faster. So Earth stopped asking. Earth started building. Lieutenant looked up from her console. She was young, only 25, but she was the best tactical officer in the fleet. Her fingers moved across the screens like water flowing over rocks. "I have the enemy positions, Captain. They are still in orbit around the moon. They are loading prisoners onto their cargo ships." "How many prisoners?" asked. His voice became quiet. "Over 30,000, most of the colony." The bridge fell silent. 30,000 souls. 30,000 humans about to disappear into the darkness of space. Mothers who would never see their children again. Fathers who would die in alien mines. Young people whose entire lives would be spent in chains. Stepped forward. "Captain, we have waited long enough. The crew is ready. The weapons are ready. We are ready." Looked around her bridge. Every face showed the same thing: determination, anger, hope. These were not soldiers looking for glory. These were humans who had watched their people suffer for too long. Chief Engineer Minu's voice came through the speakers. He was down in the engine room, surrounded by the massive power cores that drove the ship. "Captain, engines are at full capacity. I can give you everything we have whenever you need it." Took a deep breath. This was the moment. For 300 years humanity had been seen as weak, as prey, as nothing. Today that would change. "Set course for 7, she ordered. "Maximum speed." The Iron Vanguard turned toward its destination. Stars blurred past the viewports as the ship accelerated. In less than an hour, they would arrive. In less than an hour, the galaxy would learn the truth about humanity. Stood beside his captain as they traveled through the darkness. The Union will not be happy about this. When they learn what we have built, they will come for us. Let them come, replied. We did not build this ship to hide, we built it to fight. She thought about her grandmother. The old woman had told stories about Earth before the aliens came. Stories about wars that humans had fought against each other, about weapons that could destroy cities, about the darkness that lived inside every human heart. We are not like them, her grandmother had said. The aliens fight for power, for money, for territory, but humans, we fight for something else. We fight for each other, and that makes us dangerous. The Union had never understood this. They saw humanity's small bodies and primitive technology. They did not see the fire that burned inside every human soul. They did not see the anger that had been building for 3 centuries. The Iron Vanguard was not just a ship, it was a message, a promise, a warning. Turned in her seat. Captain, we will arrive in 40 minutes. The ships have not detected us yet. Good, said. Let them enjoy their last moments of peace. She walked to the center of the bridge and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 30,000 of her people were waiting. They thought no one was coming for them. They thought they had been abandoned. They were wrong. The galaxy had let down its guard. The galaxy had decided that humans were not worth watching. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. And now, the deadliest battleship from Earth was coming to teach them a lesson they would never forget. Smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had waited a very long time for justice. All hands, she announced over the ship's speakers. Prepare for battle. Today, we remind the galaxy what it means to be human. The crew responded with a single word, a word that echoed through every corridor of the ship, a word that carried 300 years of pain and anger and hope. Ready. The commander sat in his chair and watched the cargo being loaded. His name was, and he had been taking slaves for 40 years. He was good at his job. His ship, the Bitter Wind, was the largest in the fleet. Its holds could carry 10,000 prisoners. Today, those holds would be full. Scratched his scaled face with a clawed hand. There were tall creatures with gray skin and yellow eyes. They had evolved on a harsh world where only the strong survived. This made them excellent slavers. They had no mercy. They had no conscience. They only had greed. How much longer? He asked his second officer. 2 more hours, Commander. The humans are being difficult. Some of them are fighting back. Laughed. It was an ugly sound. Let them fight. It makes them more valuable. Buyers like spirit. It means the slaves will work harder before they break. He looked out at the moon below. The human colony was burning. His troops had moved through the streets, taking everyone they could find. The ones who resisted were beaten. The ones who ran were caught. There was no escape. This was the 3rd human colony had raided this year. The creatures were everywhere now, spreading across the galaxy like weeds. They built their little farms and their little cities. They thought they were safe. They were never safe. The scanner officer suddenly sat up straight. His eyes went wide with surprise. Commander, I am detecting something strange. What is it? A ship coming out of hyperspace, very fast. Turned to look at the main screen. A point of light appeared in the darkness. It grew larger and larger until it became a shape. A ship, but not like any ship had ever seen. It was massive, larger than anything they had built. Its hull was dark, almost black, and covered with strange patterns. Weapons lined its sides like teeth in a predator's mouth. Engines burned bright blue at its back. What is that thing? Whispered. Unknown design, Commander. I cannot match it to any species in our database. The strange ship came to a stop. It sat there in space, silent and still like a hunter watching its prey. On the bridge of the Iron Vanguard, Captain studied her enemies. 12 ships surrounded the moon. Most were transport vessels designed to carry slaves, but 4 were warships, armed and ready for combat. "They have seen us," reported. "They are scanning our ship." "Let them look," replied. "It will not help them." Commander stood at the weapons station. His hands rested on the controls. Every missile tube was loaded. Every cannon was charged. The Iron Vanguard was ready to fight. "The enemy warships are moving to intercept," said. "They are raising shields and charging weapons." Nodded. This was expected. They did not know what they were facing. They thought this was just another ship. They would learn the truth soon enough. A message came through the communication system. His face appeared on the screen. His yellow eyes were filled with anger and confusion. "Unknown vessel, you are interfering with official syndicate business. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed." Stepped forward. She looked at the alien commander with cold eyes. "My name is Captain of the Earth Defense Force. You have taken humans from this colony. You will release them now." Stared at her for a long moment. Then he started to laugh. "Humans, you are humans. This is a human ship." "Yes." "Impossible. Humans are primitive. They cannot build ships like this. You are lying." His expression did not change. "I am not lying, and I am not asking. Release the prisoners or face the consequences." Laughed again. He turned to his crew, sharing the joke with them. "Did you hear that? The little humans are threatening us. How adorable." He looked back at the screen. "Listen carefully, human. My ships have been destroying civilization since before your species learned to use fire. You cannot hurt us. You cannot stop us. You are nothing." He cut the communication. Turned to her crew. He made his choice. "Weapons ready," reported, "waiting for your order." The 4 warships were approaching fast. They formed a line, their weapons pointed at the Iron Vanguard. They were confident. They had fought 1,000 battles. They had never lost. "Fire," said. The Iron Vanguard came alive. Its cannons roared with light and fury. Beams of pure energy shot through space, crossing the distance in an instant. They hit the first warship directly in its center. The alien vessel exploded. One moment it was there, flying through space. The next moment it was a ball of fire and debris. The explosion was so bright that it hurt to look at. Watched in horror as his warship died. 300 crew members, gone in a single shot. "Return fire," he screamed. "All ships return fire." The remaining warships launched everything they had. Missiles flew through space. Energy beams cut across the darkness. All of them were aimed at the human ship. None of them reached their target. The Iron Vanguard's shields absorbed the attacks like they were nothing. The missiles exploded harmlessly against the energy barrier. The beams bent away and disappeared into space. "Shields holding at 98%, reported calmly. Watched the enemy fire splash against her ship. They had thrown everything they had at her. It was not enough. It was not even close. "Target the remaining warships," she ordered. "Fire at will." The Iron Vanguard's weapons spoke again. 3 more shots, 3 more explosions. In less than 30 seconds, all 4 warships had been destroyed. The transport vessels tried to run. Their engines flared as they turned away from the moon. They were cargo ships not built for speed. They had no weapons. They had no chance. "Disable their engines," commanded. "I want those ships intact." Precision shots hit each transport in exactly the right place. Their engines died. The ships drifted helplessly in space, unable to move. Only one ship remained, the Bitter Wind's flagship. The commander stared at the destruction around him. His fleet was gone. His warships were debris. His transports were disabled. In less than 5 minutes, everything had changed. "This is impossible," he whispered. "This cannot be happening." A message came through. Captain's face appeared on his screen again. Her expression was exactly the same as before. cold, calm, dangerous. "You have one chance," she said. "Surrender now and release all prisoners, refuse, and you will join your fleet." Felt something he had not felt in 40 years. Fear, real fear, the kind that makes your hands shake and your heart pound. He looked at the human ship on his screen. This thing had destroyed 4 warships without taking a single hit. It had disabled 8 transports in seconds. It was the most powerful weapon he had ever seen. And it was human, built by the species everyone called primitive, built by the creatures everyone ignored. Thought about fighting, he thought about dying with honor, but honor did not matter to the dead, and he very much wanted to live. "We surrender," he said quietly. "Do not fire, we surrender." Nodded, "A wise choice. Begin releasing the prisoners immediately. If a single human is harmed, I will end you." She cut the communication. On the bridge, the crew was silent. They had just won their first battle. They had just shown the galaxy what humanity could do, but there was no celebration, no cheering. This was not a victory to celebrate. It was a beginning. Walked to his captain's side. "The Union will know about this within hours. Word spreads fast in the galaxy." "Good," replied. "Let them know, let everyone know." She looked out at the disabled ships and the debris floating in space. Today, 12 vessels had learned the truth about humanity. Tomorrow, the whole galaxy would learn. The Iron Vanguard had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. The rescue operation took 6 hours. Shuttle after shuttle flew from the Iron Vanguard to the disabled transport ships. Human soldiers in black armor walked through the dark corridors, breaking open doors and cutting chains. Captain watched the operation from her bridge. On the screens, she could see her people being freed, mothers holding their children, old men crying with relief, young women who had thought they would never see the sun again. 32,000 humans. That was how many they had taken. 32,000 people who had been minutes away from a life of slavery. Now they were safe. Lieutenant turned from her station. "Captain, all prisoners have been recovered. Medical teams are treating the injured. Most of them are in good condition." "And the crews?" "Secured in holding cells. All weapons have been collected. They are not a threat." Nodded, she walked to the edge of the bridge and looked out at the stars. Behind her, the colony on the moon was still burning. They had destroyed so much: homes, schools, farms. Everything these people had built was gone. But the people themselves were alive. That was what mattered. Commander approached with a data pad in his hand. "We have completed our scan of the ships. Their databases contain interesting information." "What kind of information?" "Lists, names, numbers, every human they have taken in the last 50 years, where they were sold, who bought them." Felt her heart grow heavy. 50 years of slavery, 50 years of stolen lives. The numbers were staggering. "How many?" she asked quietly. His face was grim. "Over 200,000. The bridge fell silent. 200,000 humans, taken from colonies across the galaxy, sold to alien masters, worked until they died, and the Union had done nothing. The Union had allowed this to happen. Spoke up. "Captain, I am receiving a transmission. It is coming from the Union relay station in this system." "Put it through." The main screen flickered. A new face appeared. It was not. This creature was different. It had blue skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on its face. Its mouth was small, built for speaking rather than eating. This was a Kel, the species that ran the Galactic Union. They were not warriors. They were politicians, bureaucrats, administrators. They controlled the galaxy not through strength, but through rules and agreements and deals made in dark rooms. "Human vessel," the Kel said. "I am Administrator Gel of the Galactic Union. You have committed serious crimes in Union space. You have destroyed registered ships. You have interfered with lawful commerce. You will surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded." Almost laughed. Lawful commerce. That was what they called slavery. That was what they called the theft of human lives. Administrator, she replied, I am captain of the Earth Defense Force. We have rescued human citizens from unlawful imprisonment. We have taken action against criminals who prey on our people. We have broken no laws that matter. The Kel's three eyes blinked in sequence. The syndicate operates under union license. Their activities are legal under our codes. Your actions are an attack on union authority. Then your laws are wrong. Administrator Gel seemed surprised. Species did not talk to the union this way. Species begged. Species negotiated. They did not argue. You do not understand your position, human. You are one ship. The union has millions. If you do not surrender, we will destroy you. Leaned forward. Administrator, let me explain something to you. For 300 years, your union has ignored humanity. You called us primitive. You let slavers take our people. You laughed when we asked for help. She paused, her voice grew colder. We are done asking. We are done begging. From this moment forward, any ship that threatens human lives will be destroyed. Any government that allows slavery of humans will face consequences. This is not a request. This is not a negotiation. This is a warning. The administrator's blue face turned pale. You cannot threaten the Galactic Union. You do not have the power. You have no idea what power we have. Made a small gesture. The communication ended. The Kel's face disappeared from the screen. Stood beside his captain. That was bold. It was necessary. The Union only understands strength. Words without force mean nothing to them. They will send ships, many ships. I know, that is why we need to move fast. Turned to face her crew. Every person on the bridge was watching her. They had followed her across the stars. They had trusted her with their lives. Now they needed to know what came next. What we did today was just the beginning, she said. The Union will not ignore us now. They will come for us with everything they have. They will try to crush us before we become a real threat. She walked among them, meeting their eyes one by one. But we are already a real threat. We have been building in secret for 300 years. The Iron Vanguard is not alone. Back home, more ships are waiting, more weapons, more soldiers. Earth has not been sleeping. Earth has been preparing. Raised her hand. Captain, what about the people we rescued? We cannot take them all back to Earth. No, we cannot. We will take them to New Haven, the hidden colony in the asteroid belt of System J7. They will be safe there until we can find them permanent homes. Chief Engineer Minu's voice came through the speakers. Captain, I have finished repairs on the transport ships. They can fly again, but only at reduced speed. Good, we will escort them to New Haven. After that, we head back to Earth. The Council needs to know what has happened here. The next several hours were busy. The damaged transport ships were repaired enough to travel. The rescued humans were given food and medical care. The prisoners were transferred to a single vessel, which would be left adrift for Union ships to collect. Before the fleet departed, ordered one final action. Open a general broadcast, she told, all frequencies. I want everyone in this sector to hear this. Made the connection. You are live, Captain. Stood straight and looked directly at the camera. She knew that millions of beings would see this message. Aliens who had never thought twice about humanity. Governments that had treated Earth as a joke. Slavers who saw humans as cargo. My name is Captain. I speak for the people of Earth. Today, we have freed 32,000 humans from slavery. We have destroyed the ships that took them. We have shown that humans will no longer accept being prey. She paused to let her words sink in. For centuries, the galaxy has ignored us. You called us primitive. You called us weak. You thought we were nothing. You were wrong. From this day forward, humanity stands as an equal among the stars. We do not seek war. We do not seek conquest, but we will protect our own. We will fight for our people, and we will never, ever surrender. To those who have taken humans as slaves, we are coming for you. To those who have allowed this evil, we are watching you. To those who wish to live in peace, we welcome you as friends. The galaxy let down its guard. That was a mistake. Remember this day. Remember what happened here. Remember that humanity is awake. She made a cutting motion. The broadcast ended. The fleet of ships turned toward their destination. The Iron Vanguard led the way, its dark hull cutting through the stars like a blade through silk. Behind them, the wreckage of the fleet drifted slowly through space. A reminder, a warning, a promise of things to come. Sat in her captain's chair and watched the stars pass by. She thought about all the humans still in chains somewhere in the galaxy. 200,000 souls waiting for rescue. She would find them. She would free them. No matter how long it took. No matter how many enemies stood in her way. The reckoning had begun, and it would not end until every human was free. The message reached the Union Council within hours. Every species in the galaxy heard Captain's words. Some laughed, some worried, most simply could not believe what they were seeing. Humans building warships, destroying fleets, it seemed impossible. But the evidence was real, the wreckage was real, the freed prisoners were real. Humanity had done something that no one thought they could do. They had struck back. In the great chamber of the Union Council, the leaders of 100 species gathered to discuss this new threat. The Kell sat at the head of the table, their three eyes watching everything. Around them were the, still angry about their lost ships, a species of tall, thin beings who controlled most of the galaxy's banking, the heavy creatures with 4 arms who built the Union's warships. This cannot be allowed to continue, the representative growled. The humans attacked our fleet. They stole our property. They must be punished. Your property was other beings, the representative replied smoothly. Perhaps you should have been more careful about who you captured. The Union approved our licenses. The Union protected our business. Now the Union must enforce its laws. Administrator Gel raised a hand for silence. The question is not whether the humans broke our laws. The question is what we do about it. We have never faced this situation before. A primitive species suddenly showing advanced technology. It is concerning. It is more than concerning, said the representative. I have studied the scan data from the battle. The human ship is unlike anything we have ever seen. Its weapons are more powerful than our best designs. Its shields are stronger. Its engines are faster. How is that possible? Gel asked. We visited Earth 300 years ago. They were barely able to leave their own planet. I do not know, but the evidence is clear. Somehow, humanity has jumped ahead of us in military technology. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some called for immediate attack. Others urged caution. A few suggested that the Union should negotiate with the humans, treat them as equals. This last suggestion was quickly shouted down. In the end, the council reached a decision. A fleet would be assembled, 20 warships from the, 10 from the, support vessels from a dozen other species, 40 ships in total, the largest military force the Union had sent anywhere in 50 years. Their mission was simple: find the human ship, destroy it, show the galaxy that the Union was still in control. The fleet gathered at a staging point near the human sectors of space. Admiral Cran, with decades of battle experience, commanded the operation. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Unbreakable, and studied the reports. The human ship was last seen heading toward System J7, his tactical officer reported. We believe they are hiding in the asteroid belt. Then that is where we will go. All ships prepare for jump. The fleet entered hyperspace. 40 ships, carrying thousands of soldiers and enough weapons to destroy a planet. It was overwhelming force. It was meant to send a message. But Admiral Cran felt uneasy. He had seen the battle recordings. He had watched a single human ship tear apart 4 warships in seconds. His fleet was bigger. His ships were more numerous. But he was not confident. The fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of System J7. The asteroid belt stretched before them, a field of floating rocks millions of kilometers wide. Somewhere in that maze, the human ship was hiding. "Begin scanning operations," Cran ordered. "Find them." The Iron Vanguard was not hiding. Captain had been expecting this response. She had known the Union would come for her. She had planned for it. "Admiral," her sensor officer reported, 40 enemy vessels have entered the system. They are beginning to scan the asteroid belt. Smiled grimly, 40 ships. The Union was taking this seriously. Good. That meant they understood the threat. "Are the colonists safely evacuated?" "Yes, Captain. The last transport left an hour ago. New Haven is empty." "Then we have nothing to protect. That makes things simpler." She stood up from her chair and walked to the front of the bridge. Through the viewport, she could see the distant lights of the Union fleet. They were so confident, so certain of their power. They were about to learn a hard lesson. "All hands battle stations. Bring weapons online. Raise shields to maximum." Commander moved to the weapons console. His hands danced across the controls, activating systems that had been waiting for this moment. "Weapons hot, Captain. All batteries charged. Missile tubes loaded." Chief Engineer Minu's voice came through the speakers. "Captain, I can give you 115% on the engines. It will burn them out eventually, but for a few hours, nothing in the galaxy can catch us." "Do it. We are going to need every advantage we can get." The Iron Vanguard powered up from behind a large asteroid. Its engines flared bright, announcing its presence to the entire system. It moved toward the Union fleet like a wolf approaching a herd of sheep. Admiral Cran saw the human ship appear on his screens. "There it is. All ships form attack formation. Prepare to engage." 40 ships turned toward their single enemy, weapons charged, shields activated. Hundreds of crew members prepared for battle. "Admiral," his scanner officer said nervously, "the human ship is not retreating. It is coming directly at us." "It is one ship against 40. Perhaps the humans are brave. Perhaps they are just stupid." The two forces closed on each other. The Iron Vanguard accelerated to attack speed. Union ships spread out to surround it. Watched her enemies move into position. 20 ships to the left, 20 to the right. They were trying to trap her in a crossfire. It was a good tactic. Against any other ship it would have worked. "Give me firing solutions on the lead vessels in each group." "Ready, Captain." "Fire." The Iron Vanguard's main cannon spoke. 2 beams of light shot across space, hitting 2 different ships. Both exploded instantly. The Union fleet opened fire. Hundreds of weapons launched their attacks at the human ship. Energy beams, missiles, plasma torpedoes, everything they had. The Iron Vanguard flew through the storm of fire. Its shields flashed as they absorbed hit after hit. Some attacks got through, scoring marks on the black hull, but the ship kept coming. "Shields at 72%, reported. Minor damage to outer sections." "Return fire, all weapons. Target anything that moves." The battle became chaos. The Iron Vanguard twisted and turned through the Union formation, firing in all directions. Its cannons never stopped. Its missiles flew toward enemy ships in endless streams. One by one, Union vessels began to die. A destroyer exploded as its reactor was hit. A cruiser split in half from a direct strike. A transport ship full of soldiers disappeared in a ball of flame. Admiral Cran watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. He had never seen anything like this. One ship, one human ship, it was destroying everything. "All ships fall back," he ordered. "Regroup at the edge of the system." The surviving Union ships began to retreat, but the Iron Vanguard followed them. It was faster than anything they had. It caught up to fleeing vessels and destroyed them from behind. The battle lasted 2 hours. When it was over, Admiral Cran's flagship was drifting in space, its engines destroyed. Around him, the wreckage of his fleet floated silently. Of the 40 ships that had come to destroy the humans, only 7 remained, and those 7 could barely fly. A message came through to his bridge. Captain's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired but satisfied. Admiral Cran, your fleet is defeated. Surrender your remaining ships and I will let your crews live. Cran stared at her. This small human woman had just destroyed the largest fleet the Union had sent anywhere in 50 years, with one ship, one impossible ship. How, he asked quietly, how did you do this? His expression did not change. You thought humanity was weak because we were young. You forgot that young species fight hardest to survive. You forgot that desperation breeds invention. You forgot that the hunted eventually become the hunters. She leaned forward. Tell your council what happened here. Tell them that humanity is no longer prey. Tell them that if they send another fleet, we will destroy that one too. We do not want war, but we will not accept slavery. We will not accept being ignored. We will not accept anything less than equal treatment. And if they refuse? His eyes were hard. Then we will keep fighting until there is nothing left to fight. We are humans. This is what we do. She ended the communication. The Iron Vanguard turned and flew away into the darkness, leaving the broken fleet behind. Its hull its shields were nearly gone, but it had won. 20-1 odds, and humanity had won. The galaxy would never see them as primitive again. News of the battle spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Every station carried the story. Every world heard the reports. A single human ship had defeated 40 Union vessels. The great Galactic Union, which had ruled the stars for 10,000 years, had been humiliated. On 1,000 different planets, beings looked at each other and asked the same question. How was this possible? The Union Council met in emergency session. The great chamber was silent. No one argued. No one shouted. They were all too shocked to speak. Administrator Gel stood at the head of the table. His 3 eyes moved slowly across the assembled representatives. All the great powers of the galaxy, all of them afraid. The situation is clear, Gel said finally. We have underestimated humanity. We have made a serious mistake. A mistake? The representative slammed his fist on the table. They destroyed our fleets. They killed thousands of our soldiers. This is not a mistake. This is war. Is it? The representative spoke calmly as always. The humans did not attack first. We attacked them. We sent ships to capture their people. We sent a fleet to destroy their vessel. They simply defended themselves. They are primitives. They have no right to defend themselves against the Union. Perhaps that is exactly the kind of thinking that led us to this moment. The argument continued for hours. Some wanted to send more ships, build a bigger fleet, crush the humans with overwhelming numbers. Others pointed out that the Union's biggest fleet had already been crushed. How many ships would it take? How many soldiers would have to die? And there was another problem. Other species were watching. Throughout the galaxy, there were hundreds of worlds that lived under Union control, species that had been conquered, peoples that had been enslaved. They had always believed that resistance was impossible. The Union was too strong. No one could fight back. Now they had seen a single ship from a primitive world destroy the Union's greatest fleet. If humanity could do it, perhaps others could too. The idea was spreading. Hope was spreading. And hope was dangerous. The representative spoke quietly. We need to consider the bigger picture. If we continue this war with humanity, we show weakness. We show that we can be challenged. Other species will take notice. Rebellions will follow. Then what do you suggest? Gel asked. I suggest we do something we have never done before. I suggest we negotiate. The chamber erupted in outrage. The Union did not negotiate with lesser species. The Union commanded. The Union demanded. Negotiation was for equals, and there were no equals. But as the shouting died down, a cold reality settled over the room. They had no choice. The Union's military reputation had been shattered. Their economy depended on slave labor that was now at risk. Their authority over 1,000 worlds was slipping away. They could not afford another defeat. 3 days later, a Union diplomatic vessel arrived in Earth's solar system. It carried Administrator Gel and representatives from every major species. They came not as conquerors, but as guests. Captain stood on the surface of Earth for the first time in 5 years. The grass was green beneath her feet. The sky was blue above her head. She had almost forgotten how beautiful her home world could be. Commander stood beside her. Behind them, the crew of the Iron Vanguard had gathered to witness this moment. Lieutenant, Chief Engineer Minu, hundreds of soldiers and officers who had fought and bled for this day. The Union shuttle landed softly on the field. Its doors opened. Administrator Gel stepped out, followed by his delegation. For a long moment, no one spoke. Humans and aliens faced each other across a distance of a few meters, and a gap of 300 years of hatred and pain. Gel was the first to break the silence. Captain, we have come to discuss terms. Terms for what? For peace, for recognition, for a new relationship between humanity and the Galactic Union. Studied the alien administrator. His blue face was unreadable. His 3 eyes revealed nothing, but she could sense something underneath his calm exterior. Fear. The Union was afraid of her, afraid of humanity. Good. Follow me, she said. We have much to discuss. The negotiations lasted 3 weeks. They were held in a grand hall that humanity had built specifically for this purpose. A hall with room for representatives from every species in the galaxy. A hall that showed the Union how far humanity had come. The terms were simple. All human slaves would be freed immediately. Slavery of humans would become illegal under Union law. Humanity would be granted full membership in the Galactic Union, with voting rights equal to any other species. The Syndicate would pay compensation for 300 years of crimes against humanity. In return, humanity would share some of its new technology with the Union. Not the weapons, never the weapons, but other advances that could benefit everyone. Administrator Gel resisted at first. The terms were too harsh. The Union had never given so much to any species. It would set a dangerous precedent. Captain's response was brief. Accept these terms or we will destroy your remaining fleets and take what we want by force. These are the only options. The Union accepted. On the final day of negotiations, a ceremony was held. Representatives from every species in the galaxy gathered to witness humanity's formal entry into the Galactic Union. Captain stood at the center of the stage, flanked by her crew. Administrator Gel approached with a ceremonial document. His hands were shaking slightly as he held it out. On behalf of the Galactic Union, I welcome humanity as a full and equal member of our community. May our species work together in peace and prosperity. Took the document. She did not smile. This was not a moment for celebration. Too many humans had suffered. Too many had died in chains. This agreement did not erase the past. It only offered hope for a better future. Humanity accepts this membership, she said. But we do not forget what has been done to us. We do not forgive those who ignored our suffering. We join this union not as friends, but as equals who demand respect. She turned to face the watching crowd. Hundreds of alien faces looked back at her. Some were curious, some were hostile, some were afraid. Let this day serve as a lesson, continued. Never underestimate a species because they are young or weak or different. Never assume that power cannot shift. Never believe that the order of things is permanent. She held up the Iron Vanguard's flag, a simple design, a blue planet surrounded by stars. Humanity was alone in the darkness for a long time. We faced the void with nothing but our will to survive. We crawled out of caves and reached for the stars. We fell. We failed. We got back up, again and again and again. Her voice grew stronger. You called us primitive. You called us insignificant. You thought we would never matter, but here we stand. Equal members of your union, conquerors of your fleets, masters of our own destiny. She lowered the flag and looked directly at Administrator Gel. The galaxy let down its guard. It stopped watching the little blue world at the edge of space. It assumed that humans would never be a threat. That was a mistake you will not make again. She stepped back from the podium. Humanity is awake now, and we are just getting started. The ceremony ended. The delegates departed. The Union ships left Earth's system one by one, carrying news of what had happened to every corner of the galaxy. Captain stood alone on the hill where she had grown up. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Below her, the city lights were beginning to glow. Found her there as darkness fell. He stood beside her in comfortable silence, watching the stars appear one by one. "What now?" he asked finally. Thought about the question. They had won. They had achieved everything they had fought for: freedom, recognition, respect. The long nightmare of slavery was ending. But the galaxy was vast. There were still humans out there who needed help, still injustices that needed to be corrected, still a future that needed to be built. "Now we keep going," she said. "We find our people who are still lost. We build new colonies on new worlds. We make humanity so strong that no one will ever threaten us again." She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Iron Vanguard was orbiting, waiting for its next mission. Somewhere out there, millions of humans were looking at the same stars, hopping for a better tomorrow. "We showed them what humanity can do when we are pushed," said quietly. "Now we show them what we can do when we are free." She smiled, a real smile this time, not the cold, dangerous smile of battle, the warm smile of hope. The galaxy had awakened something ancient and unbreakable, something that would never stop fighting, something that would never surrender, something that would stand among the stars forever. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same.